Ready.
The next topic to be discussed is the Varmam, also known as Marmam in Kerala, but known more as Varmam in Tamil Nadu. It's a very interesting science and it is very scientific by its methods and implementation. Most of us have a general feel of mystic nature to it, and also there's a lot of mystery shrouded around it by virtue of the fact that historically it was kept as a very closely guarded secret, which was allowed and allocated only to the elite in the martial arts tradition. But of course, it has its own share of enormous medical values, and this is precisely why Varmam is still significant in the modern day era of sports injuries or anything of that nature that really has a lot of sufferings inflicted to the human being. When it comes to Varmam, it is very important for us to realize that it has two terms, of course, Marmam and Varmam, and it is basically a denotion of extremely subtle vital energy flow in the body, and also it can be called as a life energy. And of course, these PowerPoints you would automatically have in the slideshow of the website. I would just precisely prefer to talk on the matters of evidences, which is more interesting than the PowerPoint itself. The reasoning is very clear here as we have the background of it, and these are the indications. As we can see, a good majority of that is the musculoskeletal disorders which is underlined, and the list is long but it is very distinguished. And in my own practice and also of many of the doctors inside Kerala and outside Kerala, we have realized that it is very effective for more than 50 conditions of clinical importance in the daily clinical practice. And it is not confined only to the aspects of musculoskeletal but also has multiple implications at multi systems of the body. And quite contrary to the idea that it is only an orthopedic related system, it is a multi system. It's anything that is implicated in the body's health is all relevant when it comes to a section of Varma. And the improvements are very fast and they are very appreciable, and they're very much long lasting also. And how exactly it can be implemented is very much mentioned in this specific slide, that it is very much usable as independent and also as complementary by any system of doctors, any system of medicine doctors. And how does it become important to Ayurvedics is that it is so easy to do, rather so easy to implement, and also it's so easy to do for the bystanders of the patients who are the beneficiaries of the same. And there have been many doctors who have been using Varmam for the last more than 4 years since it was introduced inside Kerala by the Arts Research Institute or the Tirumoolar Varmology Institute in Coimbatore under the leadership of Dr. Shanmugam sir, who is the Grand Master of Varmam, if you would call him like that. He is the master of masters, having been trained by more than 70 different ashans or different masters as they are called in Tamil Nadu. And he has formulated these methods in such a way that it is very easily implemented in about 21 treatment centers across 17 in the state of Tamil Nadu, and as you can see it here. And the most important thing is that it is so cost effective. At a cost of rupees 250 per month, the patients get close to 8 sessions of therapies, and they easily treat about 20,000 patients per month across all their centers. He is the one. If I present this in front of this audience in terms of the knowledge and the evidences that you will see further, the whole presentation of Varmam is totally dedicated to Dr. Shanmugam sir, who learned it from more than 70 different masters so far in his life, from his very young childhood days to young days, and as a full-blown Varmam specialist. And he made the line of treatments of these Varmam points into specific treatment protocols, and if you can use the word package, it won't be offending. And these protocols are implemented all over the centers in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere, and patients are regularly done through his trained volunteers, many of them being non-medicos, many of them being medicos, be it Ayurveda, be it Siddha, or be it even allopathic doctors or even homeopathic doctors. they all are able to implement it. So it is as good as getting these line of treatments very effectively implemented in these treatment centers, and at a very nominal cost of only 250 rupees a month, and they receive 8 sessions of therapies, and they document it very thoroughly. So it's a very meticulous exercise that is exercised by Dr. Shanmugam sir and his team in different parts of Tamil Nadu and also outside. So I think I have not put his phone number as I usually do with the faculty's phone numbers, as you will notice in the other slideshows of the Anushastras, because it is definitely possible to log on to a certain website which is mentioned here, and this is very easy enough to make sure that you will get all the informations you need through the website. And it is quite a long list of his achievements. The list is long, but it's very distinguished, and as you can see, his credentials, and the list is long. This easily comes in the PowerPoint that will be uploaded in the website. And he has trained more than 500 doctors inside Kerala also, in different parts of Kerala, more than 500, and all of them are beneficiaries of his teaching, and they are able to easily implement it in their clinical practice too. And this was before, and this was what they had done before. And if I say that it is important how the Anushastras, I would call, of course Varmam is not Anushastra, Siraveda is not Anushastras, but as a continuation of this topic that I have been asked to take, is that Varmam does act like a magic, even though it is totally scientific. It has its own share of scientific reasonings and protocols and theories, but the effect is nothing less than magical, and it is so unbelievable unless somebody really does it and realizes the benefits firsthand. The effect is very quick in terms of pain relief in different dimensions. And the parasynergical measures, as I would always say, need a lot of popularity in the days when the resources of medicines are coming down. And I would say definitely to that, the Agni Karma is definitely a long lasting therapy for many. There's a quick relief that we attain by Rakta Moksham, and the other aspects that would be so relevant is the Pune Karnataka connections, because they do very effective method of what we would call as Ayurveda in a very user friendly manner, very effectively. And that needs to be acknowledged when I make presentations, because a good majority of this presentation is owed to the culture of medicine they follow in these two states. And I think we will now get into the state of closing this presentations of the PowerPoint part, and we'll get into the video presentation of the evidences of the Varmam practice that were done, and that will happen now in a different section. Okay. Of course, it is impossible to train the Varmam points in an audience, because neither am I qualified nor I am authorized to do the same, but it is my responsibility at a moral level and a medical level that I showcase my experiences to you, at least in the form of showing the evidences that I have collected or have observed. And it is very important that we take at least 3 samples just to show, just to make you a feel of how this therapy is so effective unbelievably, because we are not used to it. And I must be very clear enough to you that I spent close to 11 years, I repeat, close to 11 years, searching for the best masters possible of Varmam who could teach us with authority and sincerity and honesty. And you can be very sure it is very difficult to learn from this community who handles this in the southern parts of Kerala or Tamil Nadu. They are very closely guarded people, and of course we have to respect, because they have learned through a very difficult process, and they won't be very happy enough to just impart you like that if you go to them as a student. So it is this juncture that the role of ARI becomes so significant and so blissful and so much of a blessing to those who really seek to learn it, because you have the provision to learn it as a basic course first for 3 days, and then advanced course for another 3 days, and also further studies are always possible. So if anybody has the intention to learn this, they can always contact to the website of the ari.org or the ones you see in the PowerPoint, and then you can make sure that you are able to learn it. But my responsibility at this point is to ensure that I show you the evidences. And here the list is long, there are plenty of them, but as I said, there are more than 50 conditions where I have documented very effectively. But to make it quick and short for this audience, I would prefer that I will show you only 3 of these. And first of that would be a case of severe dyspnea. and she had come to me almost 2 years ago, and this is how she would look like. I would be expecting this to be on a very focused way, this light in a focus, yeah. As I request a gentleman to make sure that this is focused, this light. She's like on arrival. This lady had a scenario of what we would call as severe dyspnea, and you can very much see how as you can see that how you can realize yourself, as I will reduce the volume of the same, that she had a very clear dyspnea, and as she is describing it in the website, you will easily find the whole video uploaded, so I'll prefer to speak here and not she, and so that you have the whole clarified and very clear video in the website. I'm just rushing through it so that I give a sample of the experience here. So as she is describing, as you can see her eyes, and as you any it is that we need to ensure that we see how she behaves in terms of the capacity of breath she has. And as you see me here, if I hold this slide here, it's like I am still writing only the prescription. She has not yet had the medicine, and she has just been recommended. And of course we know what effect can Dashmula Kaduttaram Kashayam do to somebody with severe dyspnea on the spot. When we are very sure that Dashmula is not always available, it could be the not the bark, but it could be the branch of that is used. The second thing is that I requested her, since we did not have an oximeter in our hospital at that point, we requested her to climb the steps, and as you can see it here, well, I'm sorry for the appearance of the hospital at that point, because there was some kind of renovation that was happening there, and it's quite messed up in appearance, but still it does serve our purpose of making her go through the steps. And if you can see, we have even a small bag with her. Of course it doesn't weigh much, here. If you can see the cursor going around, it doesn't weigh much, but still that is also a simple idea to convey that even with a little weight, she was doing all this process, which doesn't make it easy for her. And as you can see that she did climb a little bit, and she has the knee pain also, that is making her not very easy for her. And you can see that it was a video that lasted non-stop. If you see the real website, you will see that it was non-stop. It is 2 minutes, you don't focus here, it is 2 minutes and 15 seconds here, as you can see that. And this is the video that is I have requested her to stop when she feels really cornered in terms of the experience of the, here it is like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I'll close this video and I'll get into the process of the feedback she gave us before the Varmam. And if you see the focus here, if you can see how much her supraclavicular area was straining, this is an easy proof of her grade of dyspnea. And the cursor written on the left, the circle. As you can see here that this lady, if you can focus, if you can focus at this cursor here, for 10 seconds she has climbed. I won't waste your time, rather I will jump into the process. And if you can still see in this area, it is, if you follow my cursor here, it's 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The lady, the video goes on non-stop. And I'll just finish it here, and I'll get into the next slide of the feedback before Varmam. And as you can see it here in the bigger one, this is the amount of strain you can see on her eyes, and or rather her face. And I would be very keen enough to show this area that is so relevant, that the supraclavicular fossa is really straining here, and this is like a big depression, and the strain of the sternocleidomastoid is also very evident. So, but then the Varmam was done, and which is basically using simple So I won't show the points much further because I'm not qualified to display the, of course it pains a bit sometimes as you can see in her face, but not always. And this is the procedure done. And then if you see, the first was arrival, she described, then we made a test on her, she could climb close to 30 steps, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Then the feedback before Varmam, as you saw the supraclavicular fossa behaving, and here was the procedure done. And next I request her to climb the staircase, and because we don't have an ECG machine or any oximeter in the hospital as of now, or at that point in 2012. And if you see that when I go forward, and please look at this cursor here, and please look at this the pointer here, isn't a focus here. It shows 3 minutes and 58 seconds, nearly double. And when you look into the video, you will see that it is an unedited and without any cut. It's a continuous video, so that you may not even suspect that I am cut pasting or making some manipulation with the video. I made sure that it is a non-stop video. You see me here describing it, but anyway, I am rushing through it, and I am going to the point of now you can see that she is able to her face herself tells how the change she feels are nearly double the size the climbing of the original. And I'll just go through it here, and then we will look into how she feels in her supraclavicular fossa. And this was like a really breathing hard at that point, and now the face is very evident. My dear friends, as you can see yourself, that the face of course speaks for herself, and also the relaxation in this area is a very clear indication how much the lungs could behave better even without one Shwasanadam Gulliga, or even without any Agasthara Rasayana on the spot use, or even without any Dhanandaram Gulliga, or even Dashmula Kadra XYZ, whatever we would normally use. This is a clear indication how, and of course I close it here and we will be uploading it in the website further, how somebody can make such a quick impact in Varmam case. In similar measure, I will get into somebody who was an injury case, and this was the maximum he could lift. When he came to my OPD, this is the maximum he could lift, if you can call it, like 90 degree nearly, and he's showing how his injury had come after falling down the previous night in the KSRTC bus stand. He's a bus conductor, and I would prefer to reduce his sound here, and just to show that this was the maximum lifting he had, and this injury here you can see on his lips here, and also it was shown in his hand. So but anyway, I'm doing something in some place, and as you know, I'm manipulating that area, and of course I'll just go through the process, and then I would be requesting him to make an attempt to lift his hand. And as you can see, it does pain a bit, but we're stimulating the Varmam point, and we still continue the same. And of course I tap to the wood, and there is an instantaneous I will just go a bit backside. So this is the lifting. See, no Murvana has been used, no bandage has been done, and from 90 degree it is nearly 180 degree, nearly. The lifting, it is so instantaneous, and that's why people sometimes feel if there's some sort of magic involved in, which is not the case. It is totally scientific by all means, and this makes us realize that in injuries also it is very effective. And as you can see, the full lifting, and the people waiting outside. So if I close this, I would take the next slide, and we will see how he was feeling towards the end of all that being done. I have went through the process of the procedure very quickly because it can be easily learned, and of course I will be summarizing how Varmam can be effectively done even by ladies doctors, even by gents doctors, even by young doctors towards the end of this presentation, and why it is so effective. And further on also I'll make few comments on how we will be able to help the fellow doctors achieve their targets by the practice of Varmam. So, and this is another situation where I am doing certain manipulation on him, and it's again Varmam, that is used at the posterior axillary fold, and we would make sure that that is very much seen to you in the video, because this gentleman, he did have a problem of the external rotation of the hand. I'm just rushing through it. You will see it more properly in the video in the website itself. But anyway, the main purpose of that to be shown to you was to make sure that you are in a position to realize how quickly the benefits come with Varmam. It is so fast acting. So I'm just rushing through this video, but you have seen the major part of it. So this was a case. If the first one was with a respiratory or cardiopulmonary, this was like a locomotor, the second one. And third is a case of a urinary block for 36 hours. So we're getting somewhere to the genitourinary tract. So we have three different headings. Of course, there are more, and there are failures also, and there's also a case of the vertigo, which I would just leave for you to look into the website with the video, because there's nothing I can prove in this as I could show in the other two videos, because that was a lady who had vertigo so severe that she was just battling and not even able to walk properly enough when she came to the OPD. And after the Chevi Kutri and the Kutri were done, at the spots we call Varmam, she had enormous relief, to the extent that the relief was sustained enough to make her go back home with full confidence of not falling down on the ground. And also I did keep on tracking her, and I even took her the feedback after 12 months, and how she was feeling good is in this video, and after 15 months also I have that feedback. And of course I left the place almost 3 years ago now, almost. But what I meant was that even in vertigo it has such an impact, and of course there are the list of indications are long, but it's very much there in the website for you to realize. So we would conclude the video evidence of Varmam by looking into a case that was 36 hours of block and of the urine, and we did fail. And I'm being a bit open here, and I'm compromising the policy of ARI in terms of the fact that I'm not qualified or authorized to teach anybody, but to propagate is my idea with the Varmam. Is somebody with urine retention, I'm just showing because I had no other option but to shoot it with the measurements. And this was the case in our hospital in the district, and he did not have any urine evacuation for 36 hours, even after being done Avagaha, Matra Avasti, Kashaya Avasti, suppository being done, and even a local Pichu with Muruvenna and whatnot, whatever was feasible, the normal Ayurvedic measures. And here in this case, again you will see the video of how he describes about his condition, and then this is how the abdomen would look like. And then I would put the sound on now further when we start the procedure, and that will be like this. This was just before, and this is during the process. And what I would prefer is to make sure that I put the video with the sound on, so that will make it easier. And then I start the process. But anyway, these are the things that would be easily taught by the ARI if you try to learn it, and this is being done. And as you see, within the first 10 seconds, he is telling, it is, as the gentleman tells that he feels, of course I cannot show it by showing his organ concern, but we just have to rely on his testimonial, how he says, I'll just make it a bit more that as we start, again make it, because we need to ensure that it's nearly the first two touches, and he feels that the urine is flowing out. So we could think about, for a prostate case or any situation where the urine flow is obstructed, of course we do not discount the fact of using a urine catheter to evacuate the same. So this is reassuring them. Even if some bowel movement happens, nothing to worry on that. So as you can see, Now see, I can get a grip here. Isn't focus here. The cursor. Cursor. I can put it loose out. The area is showing the kind of looseness. It's quite loose now. This area. This is focus here. Cursor. Area. And of course, I'll rush through it. He said, prostate he says 1 to 1.5 thousand is close to no, you can see like 60 to 90 ml, which is fair enough. And I'll just close it here now, or I'll mute it also, because the reason that is why we make this video here for you is that the reason to show it is primarily because in this case nothing responded by the purely Ayurvedic measures. The patient was suffering and the relief he finds is instantaneous. So there are many such indications that are so easily doable. And I would conclude the Varmam section now, and I would not take the time to show the other interesting videos in this. Is that the idea of Varmam to be done is very easy. If somebody has 10 fingers, he can easily make it. You don't have to be a muscle man to do Varmam, at least by the methods of ARI. You need to have the knowledge of those points that is to be done. You need to have the situation of what we would call as the right kind of application of pressure that is easily taught by the ARI, Coimbatore, and you just have to make sure that you document it well and recording the symptoms before and after and during the procedure, the follow-ups. So which would ensure that you can easily implement it in just the following sentences. 1. You don't need more than 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes to do the therapy for somebody for Varmam. You don't need more than your 10 fingers. You just have to learn the points and how they're implemented. You just have to know the indications, and it is so easily doable, and it's not a mystery science. It is a proper documented science with all its share of scientific reasonings and protocols of therapies, and it is so easily doable that it can even be delegated to your junior doctors, or it can be even delegated to people who are unable to make any sort of proper working hours suitable to them. So you can ensure that you're giving it to your therapist also, or your paramedical staff. That is how Varmam becomes so easy to practice, and we take extreme pride and pleasure that few of us, me, Dr. Sajeev, Dr. Rajesh, and Dr. Chandramohan, Dr. Pradeep, few of us, and most importantly recently Dr. Jayachandran,